Today on Time About the Movies, we have Ben Affleck's Oscar-winning follow-up to The Town, the Best Picture winner of 2012, and that is, of course, Argo. We have Sinister, co-written by Scott Derrickson and directed by him, but also written by C. Robert Cargill of... Well, he's one of the characters on Spill.com, but C. Robert Cargill, of course, was Carlisle on there. We'll talk about that movie. We'll also talk about Kevin James and his newest comedy, Here Comes the Boom, an ensemble cast, and a new film from the director of In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, and Who is John Galt? Who really gives a crap? Atlas Shrugged 2, The Strike is out, so. October 12th, 2012. This is Time About the Movies. And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films that make up October 12, 2012. And we start off, of course, with the Best Picture winner of the year, and that is, of course, Argo. In 1979, the American embassy in Iran was invaded by Iranian revolutionaries, and several Americans are taken hostage. However, 6 managed to escape the official residence of the Canadian ambassador, and the CIA is eventually ordered to get them out of the country. With few options, exfiltration expert Tony Mendez, played by Ben Affleck, devises a daring plan to create a phony Canadian film project looking to shoot in Iran and smuggle the Americans out as its production crew. With the help of some trusted Hollywood contacts, Mendez creates the ruse and proceeds to Iran as its associate producer. However, time is running out with the Iranian security forces closing in on the truth, while both his charges and the White House have grave doubts about the operation themselves. So, kind of imagine a serious version of something like a Wag the Dog, kind of. I mean, pretty much the same type of movie here, except this time around they're not making a movie so they can cover up a big thing that was going on with the president. They're doing this to save these hostages. And you really can't talk about this movie without talking about Ben Affleck, who had one of the greatest comeback stories in film history. Here's a guy that wins an Oscar for co-writing Good Will Hunting, but his career never really took off after that point, leading to such big bombs like Geely and Jersey Girl, Paycheck, Surviving Christmas. You know, after bombs like that, he takes a break from Hollywood. Then he gets to do something like a Hollywoodland, where he gets to return to some form. And then he goes on to become one of Hollywood's best directors with Gone Baby Gone, and then, as I mentioned before, The Town. I mean, when you talk about great comeback stories, Ben is definitely somebody who has had one of those great comeback stories. And Argo, I think, is definitely a film that is continuing to show the growth of this guy as a director as a whole. I mean, this movie knocks it out of the park big time. This is such a really good movie, and it shows that, once again, Ben Affleck is a great actor. He's surrounded by a really good cast that includes Bryan Cranston, John Goodman, Alan Arkin, who are all really good in here. The hostages are really good, too. One of them played by Carrie Bishie, who you might recognize from the last season of Scrubs, and let's just say she came a long way from that. She actually gave one of the best performance out of all the people who are playing the hostages in here, and really she's come a long way since Scrubs and all that. But this really is one of the best movies I've seen all year. It's a taut and thrilling action movie with a lot of tension, a lot of good acting from all the major actors. They do a really good job of capturing the time period of the late 70s, early 80s, from clothing style to just how different things would look like back then. The final climax, I think, is good, but it does feel a little bit anticlimactic again. You kind of expect something a little bit bigger to happen, but nevertheless, it's a really satisfying film overall. This is definitely one of the year's best movies, easily. I'm glad that it won Best Picture that year, even though I would have liked Silver Linings Playbook to win that. We'll get to that in a couple months or so, but it's still my favorite movie. It's still one of my favorite films of the year. I mean, it's a movie that really is very much well done. It's a smartly written movie, well acted, overall tension-filled, great movie. One of the year's best films, easily. So, that is Argo. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Sinister.
Sinister, rated R, in theaters October 12th.
Yeah, here's Scott Derrickson really showing off his true potential as a filmmaker, and not with movies like The Exorcism of Beverly Rose, even though that one's not that bad, but it's definitely The Day the Earth Stood Still is a major misfire from him. But hey, when you get to work with somebody who worked at Spill.com, I mean, it's a match made in heaven, pretty much. I mean, these are the guys that made the Black Phone movies, so they clearly know what they're doing here. You have Ethan Hawke in this, and speaking of the Black Phone, Ethan Hawke is in here, the Grabber. He's a struggling true crime writer whose discovery of snuff films depicting gruesome murders and strange supernatural elements in his new house puts his family in danger. And so, yeah, it's a movie that it works mostly because it feels like a good, authentic horror movie. I think it works because it's a movie that uses old school horror cliches, but is being very clever about them. There's a lot of great characters you can relate to in this movie, genuinely effective scares that don't rely specifically on jump scares. I mean, pretty much what was wrong with most horror movies back then. I mean, I could say it nowadays, but then again, 2025 has been an outstanding year for horror films, with one of them being The Black Phone 2. But I digress. Another key part of the first film's rousing success overall is that it comes from the writing of Derrickson and Cargill, who clearly have an idea of what makes for good horror, and the production style of Jason Blum. You know, this is him coming off of Paranormal Activity and Insidious, coming off and slowly building his own craft, and the thing that would make him become the success that he has been since then with all the films that he's done at Blumhouse. I mean, he makes smart, intelligent, and entertaining horror films such as this one, mixing it with the ones that just plain suck. But this one in particular does not feel like a film that feels like a new age horror film. I mean, Jason Blum and them clearly know what they're doing. Not always, but more times than not, they've been very successful at what they've been doing. This is definitely a film that works very well to the advantages of everybody involved in here. It's a really good movie, a really good scary film. I love it. I love this movie. I even like the second one, which a lot of people don't really like. And I like what these guys did with the Black Phone and Black Phone 2. I thought these films were really good, and it really got me, somebody who was not much into horror movies at that point, to really come into these and realize, wow, I'm really enjoying the hell out of these movies more than I should. I mean, it's a really good film that gives Ethan Hawke a good leading role in here. And like I said, it doesn't resort to cheap horror cliches. There are reasons for them to be in this film. I think it works very well to the film's advantage, and it just makes for a very good film overall. I can't recommend this one enough. Sinister, terrific, terrific film. So we had some good movies. Now let's get to the sucky ones. Here comes our next movie, which is Here Comes the Boom.
Here comes the boom.
What if I dunk this ball, then you have dinner with me?
Deal. That's cheating.
That go in?
And that right there should be a sign of why this movie doesn't work. But I'll give it this. It certainly is a lot better than a lot of the other Happy Madison productions, especially ones with Kevin James involved in it. It stars James as a biology teacher who attempts to save his school's music program by becoming an MMA fighter. Seems like you're doing a bit much here. I mean, that premise alone just feels like so much is going on there. It's just like, it's a biology teacher who's trying to save the music program by becoming an MMA fighter. I mean, it's basically saying we're going to make a horror movie about a guy who has to go into a haunted house to save the school because they're going to take away the educational program and something like that, and he has to wear like a pink tutu or something while he's doing it. It's just like, why are we doing this? Fuck it, we don't know. I mean, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. But then again, I'm looking at who wrote this movie. Alan Loeb. Yeah, the same man that gave us great stuff like The Dilemma, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, Just Go With It. So yeah, I think you could pretty much tell that this movie was kind of doomed from the get-go. But like I said before, this is actually one of the better Kevin James movies. I mean, this is not a great film, but it certainly beats the crap out of something like Zookeeper. Hell, it's a better Adam Sandler produced comedy than half the movies that came out last year. All the movies that came out last year were worse than this was better than those movies easily. But at the same time, yeah, it's not something I would say it's a great film overall. Kevin James is doing the best he can in here. I like Kevin James. I don't think he's the worst thing about these movies. They just keep giving him really bad scripts to work with, even though technically he wrote the script for this one. So, kind of a fall in this one here. But like I said, he's enough of an entertaining personality where he can make a movie like this passable at best. And that's probably the best way to describe this film. It's passable. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing grand or spectacular. But it's not one I'm going to watch over and over again. For a one-time watch, it's just kind of like, this isn't that good, but I'm glad I saw it. I mean, I'm glad to see that it wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's fine for what it is. You expect so much more with Kevin James involved in it, but unfortunately, he's with the Happy Madison crew, which basically means they're going to take as much of his talent away as they can, and give him these crappy movies to work on here. And still plenty of those to come, so stay tuned for that. But at least this one's passable at best. Nothing spectacular, nothing amazing, so take that for what you will. So there you go. That is Here Comes the Boom. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie that we have here, Seven Psychopaths.
What's it called? 7 Psychopaths? 7 Psychopaths. Rated R.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Christopher Walken while watching this movie. I don't care. Like in my best Christopher Walken voice, I don't care. Wow. I don't know. But yeah, this was kind of a letdown. You have a struggling screenwriter played by Colin Farrell who inadvertently becomes entangled in the Los Angeles criminal underworld after his friends, played by Christopher Walken and Sam Rockwell, kidnap a gangster's beloved Shih Tzu, the gangster being played by Woody Harrelson. I mean, all these people could make for a really good movie, but they're really not given a whole lot to do here. And this is directed by the same guy that gave us In Bruges, which was a very unique, very clever crime comedy that worked very well with the actors involved in it. And I felt like this felt like the mainstream version of it, like somebody was trying to make a mainstream version of In Bruges, and just kind of feels like they're trying way too hard to pull off another Pulp Fiction-esque type of film. I mean, if you want to do something cool and unique like this, go look at a movie like Lucky Number 11, which at least tries to steer away from the Pulp Fiction formula and works pretty well with it. Smoking Aces is another example of it, but watching this movie here, I never really got the sense that everybody's A-game was involved in this. You got a lot of good performers in here, not just the four I mentioned, but Tom Waits, Abby Cornish, Olga Kurylenko, Zelko Janovic from Damages and Vantage Point. A lot of good people involved here. Mark McDonagh can be a very good director, but I felt like this was one of his lesser films in general. But then again, it's also a CBS Films movie, so this kind of felt like the CBS pilot version of a Pulp Fiction TV series, where we're gonna make it safe and marketable, kind of like a Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour type of show. And yeah, that's what it kind of felt like when I watched this movie. It just kind of felt like nobody's real A game was involved in this one here in terms of the story and it. But the actors are trying. It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely a film that leaves a lot on the table, pretty much. So that is Seven Psychopaths, and let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is Atlas Shrugged 2: The Strike. Who is John Galt? Who gives a fuck? That's the answer here, because clearly this movie does not give a fuck, because they've replaced every single actor from the first movie, which only came out last year, with entirely new people. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's supposed to be a sequel, and yet nobody from the first film came back. Everyone looked at that first film and went like, oh, fuck you, I'm not coming back for this one here. So, I would get all these people in here, honestly. But then again, I wouldn't expect much from a television director, John Putch, from Scrubs and American Pie direct-to-DVD movies, to be the person that would get the top-tier actors that they have in this film. But the global economy... Toy boat? The global economy is on the brink of collapse. Unemployment tops 24%, gas is $42 per gallon, railroads are the main transportation, brilliant creators from artists to individualists are mysteriously disappearing. Dagny Taggart, CEO of Taggart Transcontinental, has discovered an answer to the mounting energy crisis, a prototype of a motor that draws energy from static electricity, but until she finds its creator, it's useless. It's a race against time, and someone is watching. Well, I'm glad somebody is watching, because we sure shit aren't. But look at the names they have in here. Samantha Mathis, Esai Morales, Diedrich Bader. Well, Diedrich Bader's not a bad actor. I have nothing bad against anybody involved here, but look at the cast they have here. Samantha Mathis, Esai Morales, Diedrich Bader, Patrick Fabian, who, of course, went on to go and star in Better Call Saul, Ari Gross, Michael Gross, Bug Hall, Alfalfa from the Little Rascals, which, he was in the one that I think John Putch directed, in the American Pie movie, The Book of Love. I mean, wow, this movie would have been a success back in 1992, not 2012, 20 years later. I mean, like, it's already bad enough. Oh, and D.B. Sweeney, because everyone loves D.B. Sweeney back in 1992 again, but not now. It's just like, what were they thinking with this? I mean, you could tell that somebody really wanted to try to make this movie. And, I just love the fact that the first movie was such a big flop, and yet they were so committed to make this movie that they had a private debt sale to raise the $16 million or the $25 million that they wanted for this. So they had to cut that budget down from $25 million to $10 million, and yet they still made this pile of garbage. And this started filming back in April of 2012. So it literally took them, April, May, June, July, August, 6 months. 6 months to make this movie. They took the disaster movie. They took the Freeburg Seltzer route here with Disaster Movie and Vampires Suck. It's just like, what are we doing here? But then again, this is a movie that also includes a cameo by Sean Hannity, so I think it's pretty obvious which audience they're going for with this here. I mean, I'm looking at some of the other names in here. They have names in here, like Robert Picardo, Ray Wise, Larissa Oliak, Rex Lynn, Lloyd from Entourage, Biff from Back to the Future, Tom Wilson, Teller is in here from Penn and Teller. Like, what even is this movie? Like, this movie is such a mess of a film on so many different levels. What's supposed to be the end result of this whole thing, honestly? Like, what are we supposed to take away from it? I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't think the people that made this movie felt that way either. And so, yeah, Atlas Shrugged Part 2 exists, and just when you thought that this series didn't need another movie, guess what? They made another one, and take a guess on what happened. They recasted everybody again. Again, they recasted everybody. Like, my God. Like, Atlas Shrugged Part 2. What more do I gotta say about it? It's fucking awful. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, which is close to Halloween, so that means next time around, we gotta take a look at another Paranormal Activity movie, and the one that surprisingly kind of killed the Paranormal Activity franchise. I mean, they were on a roll for a couple of years, but the mixed reception for Paranormal Activity 4 kind of shut the series down after a couple of films. But we have that. We also have Tyler Perry's latest film, which is Alex Cross, which probably will rub a lot of people the wrong way because it's clear that Medea should be nowhere near a movie like Alex Cross. But we do have a movie that I thought came out in 2011, but I guess it didn't because I'm looking at it right here. Helen Hunt and John Hawke starring in The Sessions. That's one I'm interested to talk about. That's one that I was kind of impressed to see. That was, like I said, I thought it was a 2011 film, but I guess not. So 3 films to take a look at next time around. We will delve into those tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode. And also stay tuned for a new Time About the Movies flashback coming up later tonight. I think we're at Halloween weekend, 1986. So a couple of films to take a look at there. We'll get to that in just a second. But in the meantime, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.